The base of a coral reef is coral, or what we would call coral rock. It is made up of calcium carbonate, basically limestone, and other materials. If you were to find pieces of coral rock on the beach, it would feel solid, rough, and have a textured surface. Even though these corals seem like just rocks, they are not considered rocks but animals when in the ocean. The hard structure we are used to seeing washed up on shore is actually an external skeleton created by polyps. We will be making ocean coral rock pieces with plasticine for our ocean sculptures. We're going to be creating these indented sort of rock-like corals that show nice irregular defined ledges and shapes and holes within them. And to do this, we're going to use this sculpting tool that has that rubber edge for that irregular looking indent, and again our bamboo skewer. I like my corals to have lighter colors because I think then you really notice the dark indents within, but again you can create your coral in any color. So I'm just going to take, I mix this color with orange and white, a hint of pink, and I'm going to be placing it on my sculpture. And you can see even now on my sculpture I have a few different places that I've placed this coral in this color because I'm kind of color matching. So a little bit there. I've made one that's a little bit more orangey down below, and some purple coral. So again, you can do it in any color and that works. For me, I've decided that I'd like to place my coral right here on this section. I haven't decided if I want it to be large or not, so we're going to talk about maybe what looks good. And you're going to notice that throughout my sculpture, wherever there is clay, I've placed an under section of clay. In this case, I have gray here. So I'm going to take this clay here and I'm going to decide where I'm placing it. Now, I haven't decided if I want the whole thing. The cool thing about this type of coral, because it looks like rock, is that you don't want it to be a perfect shape in any way. You're going to maybe kind of indent it and make it have ridges. And so for me, I think right here looks good, but I'm wondering if that is a little bit too large. You can see that it feels a little bit bulky. I want it to have maybe a thinner sort of appeal. So I'm going to remove a little bit. I can always use that piece for something else later. And I'm just going to kind of shape a little bit of what I want. And as I place it on here, I'm going to actually take my bamboo skewer and use the other end. And you can do this anytime you're adding your pieces. And I'm just going to indent it closer to the piece. You can do that with your fingers too, but kind of getting into those dark ridges, it's harder. And the hard part about manipulating while you're working on a sculpture is that you've got to try not to hit the stuff that you've already created. So you're working kind of carefully and moving through it. You can always put it down later and then make small edits that you need. Now, before I even go on, I actually might take either my bamboo skewer or any type of other tool, and I might create like interesting kind of ledges. So I do things like this, and I say, because it's an irregular rock, so I don't know how it would form in that space. We've got a lot of different things that are going to affect how things grow or how they are formed, current and water movement are one of those things. Okay, so I have a little bit of a ledge there. All right, so now I'm going to take, I actually start with this tool here because it's more flexible, and I'm not going to go in the same area. I'm going to move my tool around. I'm going to change the angle of my actual tool. The problem of doing the same thing everywhere makes it look too uniform, and it's not realistic. You can do some small, some can be deeper than others. And holding your sculpture, you want to get underneath. I think a really important thing about sculpture is that you're always turning your sculpture in all the different directions to see, does it look okay from all different angles. Okay, once I have enough irregular indenting, I'll take my bamboo skewer, and here is where in certain clustered areas, I'll do very carefully a little bit more controlled. Some of them come up a little bit just to kind of come into these sections. Try not to make it look too the same, and all the way around, even on the edges. This is going to be up to you to decide what you like. There we go. I like that. Good. So that is how we do coral. And again, your coral can look like any defined shape, and you can mix and match your coral. So here I've done the 3 different ones that have all those different irregular indenting. All right. Thank you for learning to sculpt with me today. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial for our mid-level coral rocks with plasticine clay. Make sure to check out my other clay ocean tutorials for different types of corals, ranging in the low to mid to high levels of our ocean sculptures.